everyone, HisRoyalFatness here, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are continuing the How to Play series in the T110E5. This is the Tier 10 American Heavy Tank, where I'll be showing you 3 consecutive live games in this vehicle today to break down my thought process, as well as show you through either my accomplishments or failures how you should be best utilizing this vehicle. Now, let's just jump into it. With the T110E5, one of the best tier 10s all around because it is so versatile, but it has also been one of the most highly requested videos for me to make, and I think that's because, well, as good as it is, it has some major issues, and I'm just going to jump right in. It's the armor profile. The armor profile in this tank is very interesting, and it is whittled with weak spots. And I think failing to understand or comprehend fully what the armor profile is like will make it difficult for a lot of people to really grasp this vehicle. So I'm going to break down the armor really quickly for those of you who are kind of new to the T110E5, and let's just jump into where these massive weaknesses are. So E5 has awful drive wheels. Just gonna throw it out there right now. Its drive wheels are auto pens with full damage from practically any angle that is not straight on. So this won't pen, of course, this won't deal HP damage, but this angle right here will almost always deal HP damage. It is not very fun. And so your ammo rack is located right here along the side, right behind the drive wheel. So if you're poking out with even a little bit of side trying to angle up your E5, you're gonna lose your drive wheel, you're gonna lose your ammo rack, and you're gonna take full damage at the same time. Not fun, okay? So that is the major issue with the E5, but furthermore, it has a very weak lower plate. Its upper plate can be overmatched with heat pretty easily if you're not angling it out, and of course, these driver hatches on top are also pretty easy to hit in a face hug. And to make things worse, the turret, while strong, also has some massive weak spots as well. Both sides, both cheeks on either side of the turret are pretty easy to pen with AP or heat shells, as well as the hatch. So the tank is riddled with weak spots, in other words. Even if you're 100% hold down, if you are not careful, you can still easily be sniped through the front of your turret. And I think that's where people struggle in E5. It's a hold-on tank, it's a heavy tank, but you can't side scrape in it because of these drive wheels. You have to stay hold-on, but even when you're hold-on, you can still easily be penned through your turret. So what makes E5 so good? It's its combination of everything. It has great mobility, it has a great gun, it has good gun depression, and sufficient enough armor, which is better than most medium tanks, but maybe not as good as some heavy tanks. And collectively, it's just a really strong vehicle. Now, I am running the double consumable system on it. High risk, high reward. I'm going to tell you this right now. Engine boost and adrenaline allows me to be extremely flexible in positioning this vehicle, pushing on the enemy team, or relocating quickly, but it also is really risky because only one repair kit. Now, that is even more reasons why you don't want to poke out sideways and show your drive wheels. There's no reason to take unnecessary track damage if you have one repair kit. You want to save that for something like an ammo rack, a gunner, or a driver. All right. So equipment, consumables, this is the equipment I'm running, and yes, I am running the gun rammer. I like the DPM on this vehicle, especially when you can boost it. 340 heat pen base, you do not need more than that, and most scenarios you're going to be in. And yeah, so that's pretty much the E5 in a nutshell. It is a mobile hold-down heavy tank. So in terms of its playstyle, it's very simple. You go hold down when possible, using the gun depression, fight hilly terrain. And then, of course, you can flex around and use the mobility to really isolate those targets and win engagements. But what I think I want you guys to remember most about the E5 is the armor profile. Know the armor profile inside and out, because it will help you so well in playing this vehicle. It's not an IS-4, right? It's not an IS-4. You want to know those weak spots. You want to know what angles can counter those weak spots. And most importantly, you want to try and identify what weak spots the enemy team could be aiming for if you're in a close engagement. With that out of the way, let's jump right on into those live gameplays. Alright, so here we are. First game, we are on Himmelsdorf. This is a pretty decent map for the E5, lots of hold-down opportunities, and looking at both lineups, I'd say, you know, it's a pretty split. They could go either AD or both A and D. I think what I will do here is actually go the heavy side because, well, we don't have as many meds on. I think I can definitely take an engagement over here. I'm going to save my engine boost for now because I should be able to easily make it to where I'm planning on going, towards this bridge over here where I can sit, hold down, and hopefully farm out the enemy team. There is the Emil, there is the IS-7, so we know they have a few tanks coming this way. They also have vehicles already on A, so their meds are being quite aggressive. And I'm going to sit here just for a moment because I want to wait and see what gets spotted up on the side. So you can see the 183 actually gets spotted up on the other side. This Emil is in kind of the open. So I am going to start engaging this Emil too, as he has, well, no support. He's been quite aggressive here. He takes my tracks off. We can put my shot into him in return. And now we're getting shot in the side. So my goal now is to just kind of get out of this crossfire. I might take a shot or two from this Emil, but my goal is to get safe from the crossfire of their meds. And you can see this mill is going to go down pretty quickly. We're just going to wiggle here. We might take another shot if we're unlucky. Really depends. Fortune Sent 7 Mark 1 takes the shot there, and we're up 2-0. So that works quite well. Our team managed to win this engagement, and I think the important thing that happened here was I just needed to pull back from the crossfire that I was in. So the spot I was in was fine to begin with, but you don't want to sit in a crossfire. So I decided, you know what, taking a couple shots from our mill is definitely worth it in comparison to getting crossfired out by their meds. We're going to put HE into the Gorilla 15 here, and we've already dealt a pretty decent amount of damage, you know. About 2200. There's still quite a few vehicles left, and just this good old solid haul down T110E5 gameplay is what the tank does best. You go to these bridges, and this is why Himmelsdorf is actually a surprisingly good map for a vehicle like an E5, because there's so many opportunities for you to go hold on. Now the M103 is just fired, so we'll put a shot through his lower plate there and then pull back into cover. I should have cover fire from the 7 Mark 1. So even if this M103 tries to be a little bit more aggressive on me, he can't really do much about it. Now he may put a shot into me here, that's fine, as he took so much time to aim that shell in. It actually gave me time to trade shot for shot, so we should be able to put another shot into him. I'm gonna try and aim for his tracks, kind of miss it there, and we've already dealt 3.7k. So you can see the E5, that DPM and all of those flexible aspects of the vehicle really make it quite versatile in these kind of engagements, and we're easily able to just kind of sweep the side with our team, of course, because our team did come with us, which is great, and it was a pretty quick game. So I wouldn't say I did anything too complicated here. I just kind of went towards the heavy side and duked it out with the heavies, tried to stay hauled on when possible. Definitely needed the push up eventually because of the crossfire with the mediums over here. But other than that, it was a pretty straightforward game. And that is what the E5 is all about. It's just being relatively straightforward, relatively easy. We're going to do 4,000 damage, no problem here. And hopefully, if we are lucky, we'll even be able to pick up a nice little ram kill on this 183. So not a bad game at all to start things off with. You can see E5 is just a solid tank. That is what it does. It is good in most environments if you just are a little bit aware of what's going on around you. If I just continued sitting there, I may have gotten really farmed out by those meds. So pushing up on that mill, while it was not the most comfortable thing for me to do, was definitely pretty important in that game. Alright, so here we are. Second game, we are on Canal. Also a pretty decent map for the T110E5. Now looking at the lineups, we are pretty light, and we do have a motion of 51 to 20. I think what I'm going to do here is push pretty aggressively towards the corner. Now they have some heavy tanks that may actually come this way, so I'm going to use the engine boosters to try and get through here as quickly as possible while having my turret pre-aimed in case they have vehicles crossing that I may be able to shoot on the move. I have a feeling though, given how light both teams are, they may send a lot of tanks over towards the D side of the map, and as you can see, the 422 already is spotted, and that tells me a lot because they are outnumbered in meds. He would not go so aggressively towards D if he did not have some kind of team support, and you can see here's the back of the KPF Z70. We're going to try and see if we can wing a shot into the rear of his tank. That one does go in for 366, and I'm just going to continue progressing through the enemy spawn. My goal here is to try and, well, maybe spot up their TDs, get them out of the fight, and if possible, farm any of their heavy tanks that could be exposed. So I'm going to be quite aggressive here, utilizing the mobility because I don't want to be separated too long from my teammates without putting the enemy in a crossfire, because if that happens, our team could fall apart extremely quickly. So that is my plan. There is the standard B up top. I don't think I actually have a shot on him. Unfortunately, we do not. And there is the IS-7. So we will want to be careful about putting ourselves into a crossfire. The Gorilla 15 has not yet been spotted, and he could still be chilling in the enemy spawn. So we will want to be kind of aware that there is a potential for a crossfire here. Here's the IS-7. We're going to put a shot into his rear, and our team's actually doing pretty okay on the medium tank. Now we can see the KPFZ did actually pull back, so I'm going to put another shot into him, hopefully taking his tracks off. We do manage to do that. He gets absolutely lit up, caught on fire and taken out there. Here's where I pop the adrenaline, and my goal here is to just farm out this IS-7 if possible, hitting him for 500. And yeah, so not too bad. And there of course is TDs on my right. I'm not going to pull forward too much, but I will continue trying to shoot this IS-7 as he is the lower HP target here. And yeah, okay, so Moistion's holding back that side with AMX and the 183 over here. The IS-7 is going to be coming back, as I'm sure you can tell, and I think what I will do here is I think I'll progress on the Gorilla 15. Now, I might get spotted crossing here, so this will be kind of a risky crossing. I do not think I will if it's just the heavy tanks, because they don't have much view range. And you can see we do manage to get across quite easily. And now I should be able to start engaging vehicles like this Gorilla 15 if he is still around the corner. Now, Gorilla's pre-aiming. That's good for him. I didn't over-poke it because I was concerned about the Gorilla, and I'll just sit here. I should have some support fire from the 183 or the AMX 5120 if the enemy team decide they want to push on me. Otherwise, I'm just going to chill out here. We are at a bit of a disadvantage in terms of firepower here, but all of our tanks are practically full health, whereas they have a lot of low to mid health targets. I'm going to poke out over here again, just trying to see if I can spot anyone up. As of right now, no one's been spotted, so there is a good chance the enemy team could be progressing through our spawn. Now, our motion is not yet, as far as I'm aware, getting pushed on. Okay, there is a standard B over there, but I think probably a lot of the enemy team are congregating by where that Gorilla 15 is, so we're going to want to take it careful here and not over push it. My goal is to try and get the enemy team to bait onto us or bait out into the open without actually taking a lot of damage. So there's the K91. We will put a shot into him. As I expected, they are starting to send their vehicles back through their spawn, but I am hull down here. So this is a really good angle for a vehicle like the E5. You can sit here, you'll be hull down. I should have cover from the 183 if the enemy team decide to push really aggressively on me. And my goal right now is just to continue focusing this K91. He is the one that's pushing on me really aggressively here. We're going to put a ram into him, and then we're going to pop the engine boost and pull back here, hopefully hitting him in his engine deck. Not quite able to do that, but we should be able to get safe from him just by kind of backing up here. Now I'm going to angle my hull down, and the reason I'm angling my hull down here is to give them a harder shot on my lower plate. Do take another shot from the Gorilla, but I still have cover fire from the 183, so I'm not super concerned right now. I now have a shield in terms of this K91, so we can get up close and personal to this Gorilla who does bounce on us, and now we can start putting HE into his vehicle. Oof, not quite hitting that shot. I'm going to continue face hugging. You see the girl's trying to aim for my hatch here, so I'm not going to give him that shot. Instead, I'm going to pull back, and this is just to force him out again. And you can see the E5, when played correctly, is quite good at brawling. I'm not quite sure where those shots are. We've already dealt 4,600 damage, so I think I definitely made the right play here by just hanging out in our spawn and taking it easy. That's all I needed to do, was just hold these vehicles off, which gave my team time to kind of clean up the rear. It is just me versus this Gorilla 15, and I think I can definitely be a little bit more aggressive on him. I'm just waiting until I can get a good hold down advantageous position on him. We're gonna put a shot through to his turret there, and once again we're winning this engagement pretty well. Hopefully the Gorilla does not run a gun rammer, because then he'll have like a 6-second or so reload. We're gonna push past him, putting an HE into his side, and this was a great example of the T110E5. I think it was a really good example of also using your armor profile effectively. You can see I was constantly aware of where the enemy team was trying to shoot me. I knew the Gorilla was trying to shoot me in the hatches. That's fine. I was able to angle around that. I pulled forward into the Gorilla when I needed to, just to make it harder for him to shoot my hull. I counter-angled downward just to make sure vehicles like the K91 couldn't really pen my lower plate. As you can see, he did bounce off the lower side of my hull. That's because I was counter-angling down. And that is where it's really important to understand the armor profile on a vehicle like the E5, because if you're not fully comfortable with the armor profile, you're not going to do well. Now, I think the IS-7 is coming back this way, so I'm going to have heat loaded up in case he pokes out over here, as he has not done yet. He has to be somewhere on this side of the map. We only have a minute and 45 seconds left. There is indeed an IS-7 right there, so we're going to load up high explosive. Not quite able to pen him there, and I just need to pull back now and let the mouse do all the work here, because I can't really do much. I'm a one-shot. If I die, that's probably not going to be the best for the team, so I'm just going to hang back here. IS-7 could easily hit me through my hatch here if I'm not careful, so we're just going to chill and keep him perma-spotted, keep him out of the fight. Hopefully our teammates can start being a little bit more aggressive here. But yeah, while that's happening, let's discuss what happened this game. So we decided to go towards the A side because we had an option of getting a crossfire on towards the enemy team. It worked really well, and then I decided to hold passively an enemy spawn because I had a feeling they would send vehicles back to their spawn. I mean, of course they had the Gorilla 15 there, but I also had a feeling that many other tanks would be kind of, you know, going back to their spawn. The K91 did indeed go back, and it worked quite well. So we held that corner. I knew I had a crossfire with the 183, and that's why I felt comfortable there. And yes, the 183 didn't hit many shots, but he did hit a pretty important shot, picking up the kill on the Object 704, which kept me alive much more easily. That was an ace tanker, about 6,000 damage, a really solid game in the E5, and I think just an exceptional example of what the tank is capable of if you are kind of using it correctly. And yeah, just going hull down when possible, but if not, know how to kind of corner peek it, know how to use the armor profile. You have those weaknesses, you can see when the enemy are aiming for them. I knew that Gorilla was aiming for my hatch, so I tried to pull back and forth just to bait him around that cover that I had. Good example of armor awareness for the E5, which is something that's really important when you're playing this vehicle, because it's not an IS-4, right? It's definitely not an IS-4. All right, so for our third and final game today, we are on Normandy. This is a pretty strong map for the E5. I'm going, of course, going to go towards the central mid-ridge. The enemy team have some pretty solid vehicles, but no super scary hold-down kind of tanks. I think definitely this is a pretty good situation for us. We need to make sure we have cover. You can see the 268 and the YAG will be covering my right-hand side, so if the enemy are really aggressive down there, I'll have the support. We also have an M103 coming this way to help as well. So not a bad start to this game. Here's the VK72. We're going to pop a heat shell, hopefully through his lower plate. Not quite able to hit it. But we can definitely keep holding this kind of angle of approach. And there is the I-7 as well. Now, I don't know if I have the angle on the east. Yep, nope, we have an angle on the I-7. Okay, so they have some tanks going pretty aggressively towards the right-hand side or left-hand side. And not very many tanks kind of going towards the mid. So what I think I will do here is eventually ignore these vehicles and go back to support our team on the fight over here. Because it's pretty obvious, well, 90% of the enemy's team has gone this way. I think that I-7 is kind of just a lone wolf by himself without much support. Whereas the majority of the enemy team probably did come up this way. Now we can see 50B is rotating out. There's a Jagdpanzer in front of us. We're going to pop a heat shell into him, hopefully. Not quite able to connect it there. And I'm just going to use this rock as hard cover, as well as try and stay isolated or stay in cover from tanks like that VK-72. Now the Jagd's probably going to put a shot into us. We're going to put a shot through his lower plate, angling up just a little bit here. Hopefully not quite able. And we do manage to block that shot. We're going to turn towards the VK. We're going to put a track shot into him, hopefully. Ooh, this is bad. We are in a bit of a crossfire here. And I think what I can do is just start progressing forward because the Jagd's gone down. I don't want to be stuck in this crossfire at all. And if I push forward just far enough, I should be relatively hull down here. As you can see, I'm going to put a track shot into this WZ and should be able to stay safe from the VK. I'm just keeping an eye on what that VK is doing, but we're doing pretty well as a team here. And yeah, this should be pretty much game over for the enemy team. We'll pick up a kill there. 50B is out of the fight. VK-72 is out of the fight. Oh my lord, that Leopard gets absolutely deleted. And it is just a Foch over here in the end. So we're going to put hopefully a kill shot into him. Bit of a low roll, no problem. And now I can turn my attention back for vehicles like this VK-72. So our team definitely did a good sweep this battle. So I'm definitely not going to farm as much damage this game. But of course, I will try my best to farm as much as possible before this game is... Oh dear. Rip that VK. Okay. Here's where you use the engine boost and push in. This was just an interesting game. You can see how the E5's armor profile does fall apart, though, if you put it into a nasty little crossfire. Like, I had myself in a crossfire there. That's kind of my fault. We're going to put a shot into this FV, hopefully. And I'm just going to continue pressuring down onto this I-7 that is isolated. Not necessarily the best team to be fighting, I would say. So we're going to put another shot into this I-7. And I'm just going to continue the pressure forward here. He's going to go down extremely quickly once everyone starts shooting at him. We're going to put a shot right through his side. Do hit him for 402 there. And yeah, that's about game over for him. Now I'm going to try and block his gut shot onto our Sheridan. Nice. And hopefully we can put a heat shell through his side. Not bad. Okay. So about 4k damage. Gosh, that game was fast. I would not say it was a very difficult game. I think I made a bit of a mistake when I initially pushed up. I didn't think the Jag was going to pull around the corner so much, so I didn't realize I was putting myself in a crossfire. Looking back, if I had gone a little bit further towards the left, I could have stayed hull down. I could have stayed out of that crossfire and would have been much better for me in terms of just being secure overall. Because you saw the moment you get caught in a crossfire, it's a little bit complicated to play an E5. The VK was shooting me in the side of my turret, the 50B was shooting me in the side, and the Jag was trying to shoot me in front. We were able to push out of it. Luckily, our team was pretty solid there. Still a solid performance, 4,000 damage. I think these are all pretty solid examples of how to play the T110E5. It is a solid hull down vehicle when you can take it hull down, but not every map gives you that scenario in which you can stay just hull down. So when you need to, use that mobility and most importantly, understand that armor profile. It is so vital to being good in the E5. You need to know where you're going to get penned, where you're super weak, where the enemy team are probably going to be aiming with you, and try and figure out how you can best counter it. And this is something that you learn most through experience with the vehicle. As you know, as you play the tank more, you'll get more bounces and stuff, or more penetrations that get you more comfortable with the armor profile. But once you understand the E5's armor profile, it's a simple heavy. You go hull down, or you use your mobility to relocate and engage the enemy team. Everything else about this thing is fantastic. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video on how to play the T110E5. Please feel free to like the video and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. You guys are awesome, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.
Saeed on the mix.